Have you ever wished you could simply switch your mind off? You're exhausted. Your body is ready for sleep, but your thoughts refuse to slow down. One memory leads to another. One worry becomes 5. One unanswered question grows into 100 imagined outcomes. You replay conversations from days, weeks, or even years ago. You wonder whether you said the wrong thing, whether you made the wrong decision, whether tomorrow will bring another challenge you aren't ready for. Meanwhile, the world outside grows quiet, but inside your mind, everything feels louder than ever. If this sounds familiar, you're far from alone. Millions of people experience seasons where their minds seem to run without stopping. It doesn't mean you're weak, it doesn't mean you're broken, and it certainly doesn't mean you'll always feel this way. Sometimes an overactive mind is simply the result of carrying too much for too long. Today, we're going to explore why this happens, why it feels so overwhelming, and most importantly, how you can begin moving toward lasting peace without pretending your struggles don't exist, because peace isn't reserved for people with perfect lives. It's available even in the middle of uncertainty. Overthinking rarely begins with a major crisis. Most of the time, it begins quietly. One small question enters your mind. Did I say the wrong thing? Then another follows. What if they misunderstood me? Then another. What if I make the wrong choice tomorrow? Before long, your thoughts have built an entire story from a single moment. The strange thing is that your brain believes it's helping. Your mind isn't trying to make your life miserable. It's trying to protect you. Every disappointment you've experienced, every difficult conversation, every painful memory, every unexpected setback, teaches your brain to stay alert for signs that something similar might happen again. That's actually a normal human response. The problem begins when your mind never realizes the danger has passed. Instead of resting, it keeps searching. Instead of trusting, it keeps questioning. Instead of enjoying the present, it keeps preparing for problems that may never arrive. Living this way is exhausting. It steals your energy before the day even begins. It makes small decisions feel overwhelming. It can even leave you physically tired because your mind has been working overtime for hours. If you've ever wondered why you feel drained after doing nothing, this may be the reason. Mental exhaustion is still exhaustion, and just because other people can't see it doesn't mean it isn't real. The good news is this: understanding why your mind behaves this way is the first step toward changing how you respond to it. One of the biggest mistakes we make is believing every thought deserves our attention. But thoughts are not always facts. Some thoughts come from fear, some come from old wounds. Some come from moments when we're simply exhausted, stressed, or carrying too much responsibility. Imagine someone knocking on your front door every few minutes. You wouldn't invite every stranger inside your home. You would look through the window first. You would decide whether they belong there. Your thoughts deserve that same wisdom. Not every thought deserves your trust. Not every fear deserves your attention. Not every worry deserves your energy. Learning this can change the way you experience everyday life. Instead of reacting to every anxious thought, you begin asking a different question. Is this thought helping me? Is it leading me toward wisdom or simply making me afraid? Those questions create space between you and your worries. And in that space, something remarkable begins to happen. You regain perspective. You stop allowing fear to make every decision for you. You begin choosing your response instead of letting your emotions choose it for you. That doesn't mean anxious thoughts disappear overnight. It means they gradually lose the power they once held over your life. An overwhelmed mind tries to carry everything at once. An overwhelmed mind tries to carry everything at once. Appointments, deadlines, conversations, regrets, dreams, family responsibilities, financial concerns, questions about the future. No wonder it feels crowded. Your mind was designed to think. It was never designed to store every worry every minute of every day. That's why writing things down can be so helpful. Keep a simple notebook nearby. When a worry keeps repeating itself, write it down. Not because you'll solve it immediately, not because every problem has an easy answer, but because you've given that thought somewhere else to live. Many people discover that once a worry leaves their mind and reaches the page, it no longer feels quite as overwhelming. Clarity often follows honesty, and honesty begins by admitting what has been weighing on your heart. You may not control every circumstance you face, but you can choose not to let every concern live rent-free in your thoughts. Sometimes the greatest gift you can give your mind isn't another solution. It's permission to stop carrying everything alone. There are moments when your mind feels too loud to ignore, too heavy to silence, too tangled to understand. And in those moments, it can feel like you're carrying everything alone. But Scripture speaks directly into that kind of experience. Not with judgment, not with pressure, but with reassurance. Listen to these words from Isaiah 26:3. You will keep in perfect peace those whose minds are steadfast, because they trust in you. This verse doesn't say life will always be calm. It doesn't say your circumstances will always be easy. And it doesn't promise that difficult thoughts will never appear. What it does promise is something deeper. That peace is still possible, even in uncertain seasons. Perfect peace doesn't mean a perfect life. It means that even when life feels unstable, something within you can remain steady. It is the kind of peace that doesn't depend on everything going right. It is the kind of peace that can exist even while questions remain unanswered. And for many people, that truth becomes a lifeline in moments when their thoughts feel overwhelming, because it reminds you that you are not expected to carry everything on your own strength. One of the biggest reasons our minds become overwhelmed is simple. We try to live in tomorrow while we're still standing in today. We rehearse conversations that haven't happened yet. We imagine outcomes that may never come. We carry responsibilities that belong to a future version of ourselves. And in doing so, we drain the strength we actually need for today. But life doesn't work well under that kind of pressure. Today only asks for today's strength. Not next week's, not next month's, just today. Tomorrow will come with its own clarity, its own timing, its own solutions. And often, what feels unbearable today becomes much lighter with time and perspective. Some answers arrive late. Some worries resolve themselves. Some situations unfold in ways you never could have predicted. And some things simply stop feeling as heavy once you stop feeding them constant attention. You don't need to solve everything tonight. You only need to take the next step when it arrives. If your mind has been unusually loud lately, try not to see it as failure. See it as a sign that you've been carrying more than you were meant to carry alone. And instead of criticizing yourself for feeling overwhelmed, give yourself permission to be human. Growth doesn't happen in a single moment. Peace doesn't arrive all at once. Healing rarely feels instant, but it often begins in something very small. One healthier thought, one calmer response, one decision to stop believing every fear that crosses your mind, one reminder that you're not alone in what you're facing. And sometimes, that is enough to begin changing everything from the inside out. Not all at once, but slowly, quietly, steadily. If this message encouraged you today, leave A in the comments. It may seem small, but it could remind someone else that they are not alone in their struggle. If you'd like more faith-filled encouragement and practical wisdom for everyday life, consider subscribing and joining us again. Until next time, may your heart find hope, may your mind find peace, and may your days be filled with quiet strength.